it goes. Here's your stick. Here's your stick. Push it in there.
Like that?
Be easy with it. Push it in more. Get ready with some leaves and pine straw stuff in case it needs it.
No, there's some wood on this.
That's okay. Hey, throw it on top.
Like that?
Yep.
Ooh.
Put some more on there. It's not looking too good.
I was going to be able to poke it.
You weren't doing it. See that, the stuff you got for your little nest? Throw it on there too. Alright, so tell me how we did this.
We gathered dry grass and plants.
What did we do to the grass?
We stacked it up and then we made a little nest and then we
How did
put
we make the nest?
by grinding up the grass and making it into cotton.
What did we use to grind up the grass?
Rocks.
Where?
Over there.
On top of those rocks? Okay, and why do we grind it up?
To make it fluffy and soft.
Why does that matter?
So it's easier to light it.
Okay, so the little bitty part's like better than the fat ones, right?
Uh-huh.
Just like these big sticks aren't really lighting yet. These itty bitty ones are. The smaller it is, the better it lights. Same thing when you're making your tinder, your little nest. Okay. And then I had to strike the spark because it was hard for you to push it. But besides that, what else can we use to make a spark? To make it light up?
I don't know.
What else?
Rocks.
Well, no, rocks is kind of what you were doing. What else? Magnifying glass? What else?
A water bottle full of water.
A water bottle?
If it can reflect
Yep.
the light.
Yep. And also one match. Will one match light wood on fire?
Uh-huh.
No, they don't light this little bitty stuff, but what about this stick? Will one match light that on fire?
No.
So you could do this and use one match you got and light that little ball of tinder and it'll do the same thing. So you don't have to use the flint and the steel.
Trying to get that stick pushed in. There it
That's
goes.
okay.
Feels nice.
Okay, and why did we push the dirt up around this before we started?
So the wind doesn't push the ashes into the woods and then light the trees on fire.
Uh-huh.
And so the wind doesn't like put it out.
Right.
And mess up your other thing.
Uh-huh. And tell me how you made the teepee.
You dig a little hole, just like that, and then you gather dry grass, like I said, and then you put different size wood,
Okay.
from
Like what?
skinny to kind of skinny to a little fat to fat,
Uh-huh.
and it even depends on how tall they are.
Yep.
And then after you light it, if you want to keep it going, you have to feed it on dry leaves and dry grass that
Yep.
surround you.
Now right now everything's dry. If it's all wet, you'd have to find some dry stuff, or you'd have to work really, really hard to get a fire going. And once you've got a fire going, you can put your stuff that's kind of wet around the edges so the heat dries it out, and then you can add it to it after it's dry. Yeah, how do we get rid of the fire? Hey, quit feeding it. What do we do when we're done with the fire?
You can either bury it, put water over it, or let it just burn.
Okay, and if we're going to let it just burn, or no matter what we do, what do we have to do? We have to make sure it's out, right?
Uh-huh.
How do we know if it's out?
If you don't see any smoke or any more fire.
Or any more heat, right?
Uh-huh. I just gonna put some moss in there.